to take your seats, please. Greetings to everyone gathered here today, and also those watching us live on our YouTube channel. I am Piyali Chatterjee, a faculty member at IIA, and it is my great privilege and pleasure to welcome you all to this historic occasion, the release of a commemorative postage stamp celebrating 125 glorious years of the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory, which is operated by the Indian Institute of Astrophysics, Bengaluru. This observatory, located amongst the serene hills of Kodaikanal, has been a beacon of solar research since 1899. And the celebrations to mark the 125th anniversary milestone started at IIA and Kodaikanal a year ago on 1st April 2024. A pleasing coincidence is that today, May 16th, happens to be celebrated as the International Day of Light. This date marks the first successful operation of the solid-state pink ruby laser by Theodore Harold Mayman, an American engineer and physicist in 1960. It is a global initiative by UNESCO to promote scientific cooperation and highlight the importance of light-based technology. Interestingly, his paper documenting this feat was rejected twice in the journal Physical Review Letters before being finally accepted in the journal Nature. We are deeply honored to have a distinguished gathering of visionaries, scientists, and government officials with us today, whose presence makes this celebration truly special. Allow me to take this opportunity to warmly welcome and felicitate the esteemed guests who have graced us with their presence today. First, we are honored to welcome Shri A.S. Kiran Kumar, Chairperson of the Governing Council of IIA and former Chairman of the Indian Space Research Organization and a Padma Shri awardee. His leadership continues to guide India's space journey to new heights. Welcome, sir. I request you. A very warm welcome to Shri S. Rajendra Kumar, Chief Postmaster General, Bangalore, Karnataka Circle, a key figure in bringing this commemorative stamp to life. Your efforts are deeply appreciated, sir, and it is through the vision of India Post that we observe milestones like this with stamps that preserve the history for generations. We are delighted to welcome Professor Ramnath Kaushik, an eminent high-energy astrophysicist and Padma Shri awardee. He was the director of the IIA from 1992 to 2003, during which he played a key role in setting up India's first high-altitude observatory in Hanle, Ladakh. He is the James McDowell Professor of Space Sciences at Washington University in St. Louis, USA. So please. A heartfelt welcome to Professor Siraj Hassan, an authority in the world of solar physics and former director of IIA from 2006 to 2012, who has played a defining role in nurturing the Kodaikanal Observatory. Welcome, sir. Actually, it is our pleasure to welcome Dr. Usha Dikshit, who is Scientist F at the Autonomous Institute Division of the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. She's not here yet, but she'll be joining us shortly. She's a biotechnologist and has worked as science counselor at the Embassy of India in Tokyo, Japan. And finally, a special welcome to Professor Annapurni Subramanian, the current director of IIA and Vigyan Shri Award, and for her contribution in space science and technology. Our deepest gratitude to all of you for taking the time to attend. We also extend a warm welcome to the distinguished member of the Postal Service present in the audience, Sri Sandesh Mahadevappa, Director of Postal Services, Karnataka Circle. Welcome, sir. BPS Bangalore Headquarters. Sri Parveen Raghveer Singh, Thank you, sir. Senior Superintendent of Post Offices, Bengaluru South Division, and other officers and staff of the Department of Post. Now I request our Director IAA to welcome our esteemed guests with a token of our gratitude. Shri Kiran Kumar requests you to kindly accept this bouquet of flowers. Shri Rajendra Kumar, a warm welcome to you, sir. Professor Ramnath Kausik, our sincere thanks for gracing this occasion. Professor Siraj Hassan, thanks a lot for your support to IIA all these years. And also to Professor Subramanian. So let us now commence the afternoon's program with a symbolic act of hope and growth. I would now invite Shri Kiran Kumar and Shri Rajendra Kumar to water the saplings and sow the seeds of a flourishing future. Professor Annapurna, I request you to kindly show the way. This symbolizes the deep roots and ever-growing branches of scientific discovery. As we move forward in today's program, let us take a moment to reflect on the remarkable journey of this observatory, from capturing sunspots on photographic plates to contributing vital data to global solar research. And today, through this commemorative stamp, we etch that journey in philatelic history. Here is a short video on KSO created in-house by Science Communication, Public Outreach, and the Education section, or SCOPE in short. And I would now request the distinguished guests on the dais to kindly take their seats in the front row so that they can watch this video. And I also request Professor S.P. Rajaguru, Chairperson of the Sun and Solar System Group at IAA, to kindly take over.
Welcome to the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory, a celestial window that's been observing the sun for an incredible 125 years. Let's take you on a journey through time and explore the history of the observatory as well as its instruments and its legacy. The Madras Observatory, established in 1792 by the East India Company, did outstanding work for more than a century. Following the suggestion of the Indian Observatories Committee, Kodaikanal was chosen as the ideal location for a new facility to study the sun. The Solar Physics Observatory at Kodaikanal was born on 1st April 1899. The observatory started functioning with a 6-inch telescope to image the sun in white light as drawings and then as photographs. A spectroheliograph was also employed to image the sun in H alpha and calcium K lines. Both instruments function to this day. The observatory soon attained international prominence after John Evershed joined Kodaikanal in 1907 as the chief astronomer. In January 1909, he was measuring the Doppler shift in spectra across sunspots using the spectroheliograph he had built at Kodaikanal. when he discovered that the gas flowed radially outwards in sunspots on the photosphere of the sun. This phenomenon is now termed the Evershed effect. A stamp was issued on the centenary of this discovery in its commemoration. The observatory has been observing the sun in white light, H alpha, and calcium K lines and has one of the oldest continuous records in the world. An older 8-inch refractor was installed in 1954. The first radio observations from India were made here in 1952. After Vainu Bapu became the director in 1960, he oversaw the completion of the Kodaikanal Tunnel Telescope, hosting a spectrograph which is now fitted with a spectropolarimeter. In 2014, an H-alpha telescope was installed, and soon after, the WORM telescope was installed to image the sun in G-band and in calcium K. The museum is a well-known tourist attraction, and the library hosts numerous historic scientific documents. The full digitization of all historic records of the sun was started in 2007 using a CCD camera and a uniform light source.
So let me give you a short presentation on the introduction to the stamp itself. I'll run through my presentation. So we just saw the video which showed you the history of this observatory. So this is uh, the current picture. This is the historic observatory building, the main building. The dome on the right here in this picture is the one which has this 6-inch telescope. The observation which started there in the early last century, 1904 onwards. I'll give you just brief introduction to that observations. So the observatory as it looked in 1908 is shown in this picture. The first director of this observatory was Mickey Smith. And this is the current picture of the telescope, which is still functioning. And from 1904 onwards, it was taking the picture, full disk picture of the sun in white light. So 20 centimeter diameter picture. And I'll show you some pictures. This is a picture which was taken in 1907, February 13th. A group of sunspots, observed more than a century ago. So these have been taken every day from 1904 onwards. So this is a very historic data. Why is this important? I just want to go through a little bit. So this is a 1 month long observation. As a movie. So what is shown here is the one particular image of the sun taken, and how the researchers at the Kodaikanal Observatory identify the sunspots and then find the area of the sunspots from everyday images. And what is shown on the bottom plot here is the as a function of time in years, and the y-axis is the latitude. So the sunspots on the sun appear in a particular pattern, as you see over latitude. This is called the butterfly diagram. What is plotted here, the different colors are the area of the sunspots grouped in different groups, different areas. The numbers there in a millionth of a hemisphere of the sun. So the researchers identify the spots like this, and then calculate the area of the spots in different groups, and then plot them over the more than 100 years of observation. You see this pattern. So this is the famous butterfly diagram. The importance of this data comes from the fact that we still do not understand, we are not able to explain why the sun behaves this way. So the collection of data over more than 100 years is still a useful data for addressing the frontier research problems in the research of the sun. And this is a movie. Again, I won't play the full movie. It's the 100 years of data, how the identification of sunspots area is plotted. I'll just fast track this movie and then you see how this data is used and produced, used to produce this butterfly diagram. So this data is used by researchers all over the world to really understand how this pattern develops on the sun. And soon after 1904, as you all heard in the previous video, John Evershed, he was the director from 1911 after Mickey Smith. He arrived at the Kodaikanal Observatory and he made important observations, which is known as Evershed effect. It was the very first discovery of fluid motions on the sun using a spectrograph, which he built. And here is the picture, he using his spectrograph to measure flow of gases in the sunspots. And this discovery that he discovered a radial outflow of plasma in the sunspot penumbra. And in 2008, we commemorated this discovery 100 years after that as a postage stamp released by the India Post. This happened in 2008. And this is the instrument which is, there's also, apart from the white light picture you saw, there is also another instrument called spectroheliograph, which has been producing data over more than 100 years, around the same time as the white light instrument started observing. A few years after that, this spectroheliograph observed the sun in a particular wavelength called calcium K wavelength, which is it's in the blue. And this gives you a picture of how the sun, this is an example image of the sun in that calcium wavelength. And you see these structures, the white areas on the sun in that particular wavelength, it captures the bright areas surrounding sunspots. That also gives a measure of how much of magnetic field on the sun is there. And historic data over 100 years of data is still used to study how the magnetic field on the sun is generated and evolves over time. All right, so this is the same data. This is the same butterfly diagram produced from that calcium data. This is the animation of that image in calcium wavelength. And later in time, in around 1960, this tunnel telescope, there was a new telescope built and commissioned in 1960. Soon after that, Professor Vainu Bapu, who is sitting there in this picture, he became the director of Kodaikanal Observatory. Prior to him, after Evershed, Royds, and A.L. Rarayan, and then B.A.K. Das. So those were the previous three directors. And Vainu Bapu took over as the director of the observatory in 1960. So this is a picture 1961 when Nobel laureate Professor Subramaniam Chandrasekhar, he visited, he and his wife, working in the observatory along with Professor Bapu. So, okay, so that's for the introduction to the stamp, what really you're going to see in the stamp. So this is the modern, a few slides on describing what we do now in Kodaikanal Observatory. So these are different facilities. Apart from Kodaikanal, Indian Institute of Astrophysics has also grown in expanding our facilities. There is a radio observatory in Gauribidanur for studying the sun. And lately, we have been pursuing activities to build a state-of-the-art big solar telescope at the high altitude region, which is shown on the bottom right, in the Ladakh region of the Himalayas, to build a large telescope. Right now, we have a site survey facilities and a HALPA telescope in function. So these are some modern observations of the sun in the same way as historically, which we started 100 years ago. The observation continued at Kodaikanal. This is just an animation of modern observations from Kodaikanal. On the left is the white light image. On the right is the in HR survey. It's a picture of the sun in light emitted by a hydrogen atom in a wavelength in the red of the red side of the spectrum. Okay, so let me finish with showing some modern developments in solar astronomy in the institute, which you all might have heard about this mission called Aditya L1, which was launched by ISRO. The primary instrument in that mission was built here in IIA, Indian Institute of Astrophysics. That is shown here. So currently, it's called the visible emission line coronagraph. It is currently observing the sun, and the data have been analyzed. Several results have been already published. So this is the latest activity in the solar physics in the tradition of what the great solar astronomers set up in Kodaikanal, following that tradition. So in future, we have been pursuing the solar physics group of the IIA, have been pursuing to build a large solar telescope in the high altitude region again. So this is the summary of the developments we have been pursuing for building a large solar telescope. And so this year, as 2024 and 25 is the 125th year of this observatory. So we have had a series of events in the last year, starting from April last year. This is a picture of the inaugural event of the 125th year. Our chairman, Professor Kiran Kumar, came for that event and inaugurated this 1 year long of celebrations. This is a picture, group picture taken last year, April 1st. And this is the other major event. We organized a conference, international conference, earlier this year in January. This is the picture, group picture taken at that time. So, thank you. So now,
Thank you, Professor Rajguru, for the nice introduction and the history of the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory. So as we now move into the most important part of the program, which is the release of the commemorative postage stamp, I would once again request the dignitaries, Shri Kiran Kumar, Shri Rajendra Kumar, Professor Kausik, Professor Hassan, Dr. Usha Dikshit, and Professor Annapurni to please take your seats at the podium. So let us also now welcome Dr. Usha Dikshit. And I would request our director to honor her with a small bouquet. She's, as I said earlier, she's Scientist F at the Autonomous Institution Division of the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. Okay, now I would request Srimati Nalini and Srimati Shrivani and their team from the Department of Post, Bengaluru South Division, to hand over the postage, commemorative postage stamp albums to our distinguished guests. So I request all of you not to open it yet. Hold on to it. And everyone, once everyone has received, they will have to turn it towards the audience. No, 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 no. Everybody at the same time. I'm sorry. This is the protocol that was given to us by the Department of Posts, so we are just trying to follow it to the hilt. So now I request everybody to show it to the audience at the same time. You accompanying this.
Yes. So there's a video we would like to play now, which is produced by the Department of Force.
Thank you. So now we would be unveiling the blow up of the commemorative postage stamp. So for this, I would request our chief guest, Shri Kiran Kumar and Shri Rajendra Kumar to unveil the curtain from the blow up of the commemorative postage stamp. Many thanks for doing the honor. And may I now request our guest of honor, Shri S. Rajendra Kumar, to address the gathering.
Dignitaries on the dais, distinguished guests, students, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to be here on this occasion. As humans, I think we are all a bit of astronomers because I think it's an instinct that we gaze at the sky and wonder what is beyond. And in fact, a lot of the religions, I mean, most religions are born out of astronomy, I should say. There is a essay by Khalil Gibran, which very nicely explains this. He says that there was a time when there were no religions and people were going about their work, business as usual. And then there was a man who was not interested in day-to-day work. He was all the time thinking about he's looking, gazing at the sky, doing a lot of observations and all that. And because of that, maybe he had to go hungry most of the days because nobody would feed him. Because only if you are useful, you will be fed. Then he observes
the various things that are happening on the sky, and he observes the phenomenon of the eclipse. And he's able to calculate now when the next eclipse is going to occur. He comes up with an idea that he says that he calls all the people around him and says that on so and so day on the next full moon, our moon god is going to be eaten up by the demon. Okay, and we all have to get together and save our moon god. And then they all believe him, and because naturally that actually it is happening, that the eclipse is happening, and he chants various things and makes them to kneel down and pray and all that. And then finally he says, now you look up, our moon god is free. So then from then onwards, he didn't have to worry about his belly. So because he was well taken care of. So I mean, this is a natural curiosity of finding out what is there in store, what is there in the universe. And we all have that. I'm not an exception. If you are an exception, it will be something like there is a book by Stephen Hawking, The Brief History of Time. In the very introductory chapter, he says that he explains the universe, takes all the pains of explaining the universe and structure of the universe and all that. And someone in the audience at the end of it, an old woman stands up and says, what you are saying is all bullshit. Our earth is only a flat plate sitting on a turtle. Okay. Then Stephen Hawking asks her, in that case, where is that turtle standing on? Obviously, I'm another turtle. Then what happens to where is that one standing on? I thought you were intelligent, she says. That it is turtles all the way. So if you don't have any curiosity about our universe, it will be turtles all the way. You will not bother about, about the universe, and so very interesting. And we all are interested in this because, as Carl Sagan has said, that this pale blue dot is the only home we know of. So we have to know more and more about this universe, and I think that is where all the observatories that like what we are now celebrating today, the Kodaikanal Observatory, celebrating its 125th year, they give us all the information about and how well we make use of that information is, and we get to know more and more about the mysteries of the universe. As we have seen in the video, in 2008, there was another postal stamp that was released, and that's in the Department of Post. We try to commemorate various events and various phenomena which need to be remembered. And that was one. Evershed effect was commemorated on its centenary, and today we are commemorating the 125 years of the this Kodaikanal Observatory. I do hope I will be able to go and visit it sometime after having seen it in all that its scenic splendor. Now, I would like to conclude by, I'm also a science fiction fan, and my favorite author is Isaac Asimov, so I'm quoting from him. Like when you talk about the knowledge, he says that the saddest aspect of life right now is that science gathers knowledge faster than society gathers wisdom, which we are able to see that we are now drowned in so much of knowledge and information that I mean, what the society comes out is more of misinformation than wisdom. So that's a very important thing for us to whatever to know that whatever we learn, and we have to make sense out of that, and that is what is wisdom. And then I would like to conclude from another favorite scientist of ours, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He says, "Look at the sky. We are not alone. The whole universe is friendly to us and conspires only to give the best to those who dream and work." So, for all the youngsters here, I would say that do continue to dream and work. Leave the rest to the universe. Thank you.
Many thanks, sir, for your enlightening words. So now, as a token of our appreciation, we would love to gift all dignitaries on the dais with a few things to remind us of the occasion. So once again, I request Professor Subramanian to present the gifts to our esteemed guests. Thank you, Professor Subramanian. Now I would request our chief guest, Shri A. Kiran Kumar, to grace this occasion with his insightful words.
Good afternoon to all of you. Shri Rajendra Kumar, Chief of Postmaster General, Karnataka Circle, Dr. Usha Dikshit, Professor Ramnath Kaushik, Professor Sirajul Hassan, Dr. Annapurni, Director IA, and all of you who have gathered here on this occasion of releasing of a commemorative postage stamp. Stamp collection has been my hobby from childhood. I still recollect going to post office to get some special stamps and also first day covers. And so in my recent things, of course, I have had the privilege of receiving this mementos on Stephen Hawking's first day cover, etc. So today is one such occasion where the Department of Post is trying to recognize and bring to the awareness of a lot of philatelic collectors an opportunity to look at events that have happened in the country. And in this particular case, of course, 125 years of Kodaikanal Solar Observatory. As Rajendra Kumar already pointed out, it has been human nature to make use of the ability to observe nature. And in this, when his own eyes were very limited in seeing things, he started developing tools. And what we are seeing here is telescopes looking at celestial objects and telescopes of very different kinds, and then also trying to find places where you can make observations better. And you can imagine almost like what was pointed out, where almost 200 years back, some of the people were looking at in India where to set up some facilities. Kodaikanal started in 1899, for example. This ability of humans to really look at nature and then observe it, and based on the observation, making sense of it, has been eternal. And as was pointed out already, today the pace at which the observations are happening, humans also found that on Earth, when you are observing, you have the intervening atmosphere. So you have to go beyond Earth, and you're seeing like our own Aditya or many other telescopes which are being put in orbit, which do not have the limitation of atmosphere coming in between the celestial body and observing systems. So it's a continuous process of evolution, looking beyond what human eye could see, making here also we saw radio telescope and other frequencies at which observations are being made. So it's a continuous process. And when you collect a lot of information, the next task is to make sense out of it. For example, here 125 years of data, probably it still holds so much of mystery within it. It's only when more and more analysts start pouring into that data and try to evaluate, they'll be able to come up with explanations which can help us, like what he pointed out. The person was able to tell when the next eclipse occurs and created some scenario around that. But then actually there are a lot of other things also which are happening in these observations, which needs to be actually understood. And with today's computational systems becoming more and more powerful, the human ability to make sense out of such observation is definitely going to move ahead. So let me take this opportunity to compliment Indian Institute of Astrophysics for continuing this legacy of observing sun and also observing space from many of its observatories around India. And then also compliment people like Kaushik, Siraj Hussain for the wonderful job they have done in making sure that India's ability to make observations of celestial objects and then convert those observations into results which are recognized globally. Wish you all the very best for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri Kiran Kumar, for your wishes. I would now request our director, IIA, Professor Subramanian, to please address the gathering.
Good evening to you all. First of all, greetings to you all on the occasion of the International Day of Light. And we are happy that we are releasing this commemorative postage stamp on this day. A hearty welcome to Sri Rajendra Kumar, our Governing Council Chair, Professor Kaushik, Usha Dikshit from DST, and Professor Hassan. So we are very happy that all of you are present today for this momentous occasion. And as we have already presented about the video of the story of the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory starting from 1899, it's not only about starting the observatory, it's about how you actually grow the activities and continue to do it. And there we have seen generations of people contributing to the cause of the observatory, their passion and their dedication have contributed to the collecting the data, preserving the data, and now this generation is going to use it, and it's also going to give it to the next generation. So it's about how many generations have contributed to it, not only about establishing but carrying it out and moving it forward. We also have seen that how the institute, which started its research basically mostly in the solar physics area, but expanded to other areas of astrophysics, not only from the ground but also to the space. So this also showcases the growth of the institute, growth of science in the country, and how the government of India has supported the quest for knowledge and perseverance, and also finding out more unknown things about the star we are living with. So as we commemorate the 125 years of the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory, its legacy is not just in the discoveries made, but in the continued promise it holds to the future solar research. Basically, because many of the people here are trained either from Kodaikanal or from the people who from the Kodaikanal train the others. Because when we set up the Kavulur observatories, the people who in Kodaikanal train the Kavulur observatory people. When the next generation goes, next observatory is trained by the others. So it's a chain of events happening, which all goes back to the focus on the Kodaikanal observatory. So it's just a legacy of our scientific pursuit in the country and scientific support which we have obtained from the government. So It stands as a beacon of India's commitment to scientific exploration and discovery, highlighting the nation's role in building global scientific community. So the commemorative stamp encapsulates the spirit of inquiry and perseverance, and this is what is etched in the history. That is for posterity, because this stamp has this kind of story embedded in it, and this is etched in history and is going to take it forward to the next generations. At this momentous occasion, through this event, we celebrate the nation's commitment, and also when we continue our journey to with more energy and vigor to take up the nation forward to Viksit Bharat 2047. On this occasion, I thank the Department of Science and Technology for unwavering support and guidance to this institute. We are extremely grateful to Professor Abhay Karandikar, Secretary DST, as well as the previous secretaries of the DST for their guidance and support. Without their guidance and support, this wouldn't have been possible, because at every juncture, guidance and support and funding is ensured for us to make sure this perseverance is taken forward. As we look forward to the future, the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory is poised to continue its exploration of the cosmos, continuing to our collective quest of knowledge. In doing so, it's not only upholds a rich legacy, but also inspires a new generation of scientists to gaze skyward in pursuit of unknowns that lie beyond. So I thank you all for coming over here for this particular program. We also thank people who have joined on YouTube as well as our online platform. Thank you all.
Thank you, Professor Annapurni. I would like to invite now our special guest, Professor Ramnath Kaushik, to share a few inspiring words with us.
Hello, good evening. All the distinguished speakers have given you an overview of the Kodaikanal Observatory, and Madam Annapurni has told you about the developments that are happening and continue to make progress at this institute. I was wondering, when she said that I should say a few words, I was wondering, why did they start solar observatory in Kodaikanal at that time? What is the reason? Why suddenly, Roseland suggested that we should have this solar observatory in 1880 somewhere. And then, of course, it came into reality some 10 years later. What was the reason? You see, I was thinking that we did not know that you can't keep on generating energy. Sun seems to produce continuously energy, undiminished energy for billions of years. And two persons showed that nothing can produce energy all the time. Energy is conserved. If you have it in one form, you can change it to another form. It is a kind of energy which is responsible for motion of little atoms inside. And conservation of energy was proven by 1850. So there were a lot of perpetual mobile machines people were making with the belts and pulleys and weights, making it keep on moving. But nothing can be done like that. And it was proven very definitely that you can't get something out of nothing. Then two scientists, one is Lord Kelvin, another was Helmholtz. They said, sun seems to be radiating so much. How is it able to keep radiating for such a long time? They said it may be possible that the gravitational force of the sun, when it contracts, it heats the gas and it radiates. And there is something called the virial theorem, which says at least half the energy gained in the infall. Suppose I take a object, any object, and let it fall like this, it makes a sound. because the gravitational energy that you gain in falling in Earth's gravitational field gives you this radiation. So they calculated how long sun can shine by this process. It is called the Kelvin-Helmholtz time. That turned out to be 30 million years. And they knew 30 million years, if that's the life of the sun, impossible to have all this life form on the earth, the fossils and the various kinds of geological processes, they need billions of years. So this was a big conundrum that was facing people at that time. So my guess is we should study the sun more carefully. At that time, we didn't have nuclear physics. We didn't know how the sun was generating energy. At the time, we did not even know the size of our galaxy. We couldn't see, even though optical telescopes were there, we could see only just the nearby stars. Because the farther stars, the light from them was being absorbed by the interstellar medium. There is dust in the interstellar medium, other kinds of things. So we could only see part of the stars those days. So this was the situation. Of course, the explosion of knowledge happened after 1900. One of the major development was radioactivity was discovered that solved to some extent the problem. And Rutherford was first to prove that the Earth was at least several billion years old. So there was this Kelvin-Helmholtz idea is not right. So with all these things happening, they said we should study the sun so that conservation of energy is there. There is some important problem to be learned by studying the sun. Of course, now we understand the sun very well, and it is a credit to this continuous effort which started then, and the final answer actually as to how the sun is shining for such a long time came just about 20 years ago. The very final answer. But I think I will not tell you about how it is doing it. That will take a much more long time. But I was thinking about the beginning, how the effort got started. It is to understand conservation of energy. Thank you. And I see all the people here taking so much interest in science. And when motivated by a real scientific problem, as the current director is doing, developing various kinds of things to study, success is guaranteed. I am firmly convinced that Indian Institute of Astrophysics, with all these initiatives taken by the current director, will go to very great heights. Thank you all. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Professor Kaushik, for your enlightening messages. Now I'm delighted to invite Professor Siraj Hassan to share his message with us.
Shri Rajendra Kumar, Shri Kiran Kumar, Professor Kaushik, Dr. Dixit, Professor Annapurni, members of the press, members of the Postal Department, colleagues from IIA, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me say I'm very happy to join this journey of 125 years of the Kodaikanal Observatory, which started last year. I remember you saw that photograph on the 1st of April when Mr. Kiran Kumar was there, director was there, many of my colleagues were there. So that's when we kicked off with these very important celebration of 125 years of the Kodaikanal Observatory. And I am absolutely delighted to be part of these celebrations. Now, the Kodaikanal Observatory plays a central role in the development of solar physics, not only in IIA, but in the whole of the country. In fact, I would say that, I don't want to use a cliche, but if we talk of solar physics in India, before independence, you would only one name would come to mind, and that would be the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory. But of course, in the after independence, a lot of other places have also started doing solar physics. But Kodaikanal Observatory has played a seminal role in this subject. And you've already heard, so I'm not going to repeat all those things, but you heard that the observatory construction started in 1899. Observations began in 1901. And so there was a continuous stream of observations in white light, calcium K, H alpha. And this constitutes, I think, one of the strongest or one of the best repositories of solar data that we have in the world today. Uninterrupted observations of over 100 years. Many of the instruments which you saw, you saw them in the video, we still have them today. Of course, it's difficult now to get photographic films, so they have to be continued in different form. But the important point is that the uninterrupted observations are going on. And the reason why it's very important, why do we need to have such a long train of observations? Because if you want to study the long-term behavior of the sun, especially on the time scale of solar cycles. The solar cycle is 11 years, as you saw in the video which Rajguru showed you. Every 11 years, you have a solar cycle in which you have an increase and decrease of sunspot activity. And that takes place typically on a time scale of 11 years. Now, why is this important to study the solar cycle? Now, we heard from my predecessor. He said, why was it important to have a solar observatory in the first place at the turn of the century? And that was, as he rightly pointed out, we wanted to understand some very fundamental problems about what is the origin of energy. That problem was later on addressed, as he put it, and then, of course, once you understood that there's nuclear fusion taking place, that problem has been tackled. But there are other problems which are still paramount in the subject as to, for example, the solar activity. We still really don't know the details of things like how are sunspots formed, how do flares take place. There's so much solar activity taking place. So I would say that the Kodaikanal data plays a very important role in that it gives us this data over a very long time scale. And this allows us to try to look at models, different models of how magnetic fields are generated on the sun, and try to calibrate these models with these excellent observations that Kodaikanal has provided. So from that point of view, I think the data that the Kodaikanal has provided and continues to provide is of extreme importance and very valuable to the solar community. Now, you also heard about in 2008, we organized an international conference. And at that time, the Postmaster General of Karnataka in 2008, November, I remember very well, in this auditorium, a postal stamp was released. And I think that was the first time postal stamp related to anything to do with the sun. If I'm mistaken, I think that was the first time that this happened. It was a really moment of great pride for all of us that the Postal Department recognized this as a very important achievement, the discovery of the Evershed effect, which took place in 1909 in Kodaikanal. So Kodaikanal is where it all started in India as far as solar physics is concerned. But that's not where it ends, because today solar physics is being pursued now very actively. For example, even in the Institute, we have a very large group working on different aspects of solar physics. You also saw the video of two major programs. One is already in progress, that is Aditya L1, and is providing you very good observations from the L1 point. And the other one is still in the offing, has been in the offing for a long time. And I just heard that the DST is moving forward on it, and we hope that the NLST program will soon get the official permission from the government. So IIA today is poised for I think great activity is going on in the institute, in which Kodaikanal provided the early stimulus, but today it's taken off on its own steam. And I wish the institute all the best. I wish all the scientists all the best in the work they're doing. And I have great hope that we're going to discover some new things as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Hassan, for your kind words and wishes. Dr. Usha Dikshit, I would now request you to kindly come here and deliver your address to the gathering.
A very good afternoon to everyone and distinguished guest present over here. So it is indeed an occasion of great pride that Indian Institute of Astrophysics Kodaikanal Solar Observatory has completed 125 glorious years of excellence in solar astrophysics research. I would like to congratulate the director, Professor Annapurni Subramaniam, all former and present faculty, staff, and students on this momentous milestone event. It is my great privilege to be among all of you for this iconic scientific laboratory established in 1899, led by former director Charles Vicky Smith. It is also the first longest running astronomical mountain observatory in India, with its strategic high altitude location, which offered optimal atmospheric conditions for solar observations. The observatory has been providing invaluable insights into the sun's behavior and its impact on Earth through its repository of photographic images. Let me repeat, as I am the last speaker, so we have already seen in the video, which was shown in the beginning, that it has also facilitated various groundbreaking discoveries since its inception. One of its most significant achievement was the Evershed effect by John Evershed, which was first detected in January 1909 and earned a recognition with a centennial commemorative stamp in 2008. So starting from there till today, the observatory has covered a long and evolutionary journey, playing a crucial role in developing advanced observational techniques and instrumentations for solar research in the country. I understand that the observatory's long-term observations also provide invaluable data for understanding the sun's 11-year activity cycle and its influence on various solar phenomena. So recognition through the stamp today, thanks to Department of Post. It is a fitting tribute to this key scientific observatory of India that serve as a reminder of India's significant contributions to global service, as well as an inspiration to our budding scientists shaping the future of solar research and exploration, enabling new discoveries. It gives me immense happiness to learn that IIA is putting consistent efforts to maintain its rich scientific legacy, even as the Institute is marching ahead and actively participating in mega science projects and science missions of national importance. Also, it is heartening to learn IIA is already playing an important role and has partnered with ISRO on a number of space-based missions programs like Aditya L1 mission, strengthening the science and technology ecosystem. since sky is not the limit, and as we say, those who dream big achieve big. So let's not settle down for what is already achieved. Let us all work together to achieve new benchmarks in this unique scientific area. On this special day of 125th anniversary, I want to express my heartfelt appreciation for IIA team's exceptional contributions. So, well, heartiest congratulations and warm wishes to all. Thank you.
These kind words from all of you mean a lot to us. Now, one of our special invitees, Dr. P. Srikumar, former director of IIA, who could not make it to this event today, has kindly sent us a brief message that I have the privilege of reading now for you. It is truly a happy moment to know that we are celebrating the 125th year of the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory with the release of a commemorative stamp. The foundational role played by the Kodaikanal Observatory is large for the Indian solar astronomy community. Of the numerous astronomers and technical staff who benefited from being associated with KSO over the 125 years, many have gone on to make major impacts in the Indian and international research arena. The century of observations from Kodaikanal, now made available to the global community, remains a very valuable resource, given the new focus to understand and predict long-term behavior of our sun. Beyond its importance as a research observatory, KSO has also been sought after by many public visitors and children. As we look forward to new roles for KSO, it may be worthwhile to consider revival of earlier plans to establish a modern historical museum of science that can highlight the role KSO played in Indian science and enabling visitors to experience the unique facilities and equipments developed at KSO. This will instill new enthusiasm for science and research. I sincerely apologize for missing out on being there physically for this event due to some unexpected turn of events that prevented me from traveling at present from Manipal to Bangalore. My best wishes and congratulations to the Kodaikanal Observatory and IIA. Shri Kumar. So as we near the end of this commemorative program, I would request our Dean, Professor Shivarani Tirupati, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's really an honor and privilege for me to deliver the vote of thanks as we conclude the commemorative stamp release. This occasion has provided us an opportunity to reflect the significance of the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory, the birthplace of Indian Institute of Astrophysics, which has played a pivotal role in establishing solar physics in India, as Professor Hassan and others reflected. Basically, the solar physics, IA has started the solar observations in the early stages. The release of stamp marks the 150 years of the Kodaikanal Observatory's journey, celebrating both our past achievements and the aspiring future. The wonderful event is not possible without the steadfast support from our director, Professor Annapurni Subramaniam, we are really grateful for her for that. And we extend our appreciation to the Philately Division of the Department of Post, Ministry of Communication, Government of India, particularly to Mr. Sachin Kishore, Deputy Director General Philately, and Mr. Pratik Srivastava, Mr. Aman Reda, Mr. Syed Haider Nabi, ADG Philately. We would like to express our profound gratitude to our esteemed chief guest, Sri Kiran Kumar, former chairman of ISRO and the chair of the Governing Council IIA, for honoring us with his presence in the significant event. We also extend our sincere appreciation to Sri Rajendra Kumar, the Chief Postmaster General of the Karnataka Circle, for the ceremonial release of this stamp. We are really delighted and honored to have our former directors, Professor Ramnath Kaushik and Professor Siraj Hassan. And thanks to Professor Sri Kumar for sending us the messages for congratulating us out. The visionary leadership of the earlier directors have been kind of instrumental in achieving this milestone. We would also like to extend our special thanks to Dr. Usha Dikshit from the Department of Science and Technology for graciously agreeing on a short notice and gracing these occasions. We also sincerely appreciate the dedicated efforts of the philately department, Sri Sandesh Mahadevappa, Srimati Thara, Sri Parvin Ragbir Singh, and Mr. Somashekara, and Ms. Nalini, Ms. Srivani, and all the others who have been involved in organizing this event. This is all possible due to the significant contribution from Dr. Neeraj Mohan, Mr. Vikrant, Mr. Manjunath, in coordinating with the philately division and overseeing the stamp design and press arrangements. We are also grateful. We extend the thanks to the solar physics group of IIA, Professor Ravindra, Professor Rajguru, Professor Piali, and the colloquium organization group leadership with the leadership of Piali. Additionally, we also thank the attending press for their coverage. Lastly, but not the least, we thank Mr. Anand and Manjunath for providing these compelling images which are featured in the stamp. Special thanks to Mr. Vikrant, who has designed the stamp and which has come out quite well. And thanks to Yogesh for the heroic support in the auditorium arrangements. And I would like to thank all the participants and the IIA family for their continued support in this important occasion and supporting us in this. Thank you all.
Thank you, Professor Shivrani. Next, we will have the group photo on the East Lawn. And after the group photo, the members of the press are welcome to stay back at the East Lawn to speak to the dignitaries. And there will be a high tea. So whoever is staying back in the East Lawn, the press and the dignitaries, your snacks will be served to you in the East Lawn. For everyone else, please, you will be joining us for high tea after the photograph in the West Lawn. Now I would request everyone to please arise for the national anthem. Please do follow us to the East Lawn for the group photo.
Finally, we can taste it. You want it? Really? Everybody has to take that. Everybody has to take it. Okay. We have to know. We can ask people to take it, put it into the bag.
Those are for them.
Those are for them.
Yeah.
For them to take.